Okay, guys, welcome to another episode of Taste Buddies.
Woo! Let's go.
My buddies here. And today I want to talk about what in F&B term we call meat analog, or I think most people call it fake meat or vegan meat or plant-based protein.
Yeah.
Plant-based protein. I started to see like a supermarket like Giant Grocer, Village Grocer started to stock up all these things. And then even mainstream restaurants, especially those fast food chains, KFC, McDonald's, all the big stuff lah. They started selling it also. And
not yet, right? In Malaysia, not
KFC only. They have
KFC,
Chicken Zero.
Yeah, so KFC had that Chicken Zero burger, right? Yeah. And then also, I think even in the food scene in Malaysia and Singapore, there was this mad craze about Beyond Burger. So Renyi, bro, like, I don't know why this thing specifically attacks the burger market, but luckily you got a burger expert here. Go.
Well, I mean, for one, the marketing that they started off with was to sell as a burger replacement, right? I think Impossible Burger made a really good point when it comes to their marketing. I mean, in fact, the first product that came out was a patty. I think that's why that was the direction they went for. Because in America, their traditional food or their go-to food is hamburgers. So I think it made sense that if you want to reach the mass market, that would be the direction to go for. But unfortunately, to this day, we still don't have Impossible in Malaysia, but we have a host of other plant-based options, from Beyond Meat to Future to what else is there?
There's that jackfruit thing.
Yeah, and then there's Harvest Gourmet by Nestle.
And also like Chinese food itself. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, that has been around for a very long
it's
time.
been around for so long.
Yeah, but it's always, you link it to, hey, that's vegetarian food.
Yeah.
This, however, I think they're marketing as, hey, look, let's save the earth. Let's eat plant-based patty that tastes like meat, so that you don't have to consume so much meat.
So they tried this one. They actually tried to replicate meat, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not to say that the vegetarian one, they didn't try to replicate meat. They tried to replicate the shape. I don't think the taste was there.
Yeah. Actually, for myself also, I think it actually still feels very surreal for me, because I used to work for Burger King when I was a student, right? And this is like 2003, 2005. And we used to sell like 100, 200, or when it's a busy day, 1,000 burger a day, right? And out of that 1,000 or 200 burgers, we will only sell 2 vegetarian burgers or 3 maximum. Like, I remember like whenever someone orders the veggie burger or the bean royale, right? Everyone goes, oh shit, man, someone gotta go into the freezer, find the patty, and then fry it from frozen and everything. So that was bloody surreal. And also like even thinking about plant-based protein is like almost a sci-fi thing when I saw the documentaries and everything. Like, you know, scientists were growing protein in labs. You know, when I saw the documentary about Beyond also, it was like so far-fetched. It's like in my mind, it's something in the labs. Like we are talking about 100, 200 years future. But suddenly now it's, you know, dude, it's here. Like, it's literally in front of us. Yeah.
But these are not lab-grown meat, again.
But the product is here already. And I think there are a lot, because I've done a little bit of research prior to this show, and I can tell you the issues that are attached to it is damn complicated, and there's a lot of triggers, there's a lot of heated debate, people get emotional about it. I mean, mainly in health and also in environmental issues. So these food, there's a lot of background stories to it. But before we even talk, like I always say, eat first, thing later. So,
all right, what do we have here? You have prepared a few things for us.
So I've actually done it in categories. So I think in Malaysia, roughly the product that we can get, there's there's roughly 3 types of vegetable based protein. Okay, the first one is what they call the soy base. So these are soy proteins that they've extracted and in various levels, and then they put in all this technology in there with starches, with vegetable fats as well, and with binders as well to mimic meat. And I think the ones that we have here today is, I think the most famous one, the Impossible Burger. And then we have the Beyond Meat, right? Another player. And then we also have another big player, the Nestle one, the
Harvest Gourmet.
Yeah. So these are like soy-based protein, and then they add stuff to it to make it look like meat. Yeah. And normally in burger form. And then there's another wild card that I pulled out today. I found in Malaysia, there is actually a company called Nanka, and they make patties, beef and chicken with Nanka, literally jackfruit. Okay, this is not the jackfruit that we know. Because a lot of people say, when I say jackfruit, they thought like it's a sweet Nanka that you buy on the tepi jalan there, right? But these are actually the young Nanka. So the young Nanka actually has been used, I think you all know, right, have been used in cooking for so long already, like especially masak lemak and all that, right? It's always been a meat substitute, but then they took it to the next level. They wanna bring this global. They think this is the best, the next big thing also lah. So they're investing in this.
What's
so,
their brand?
Yeah,
I mean,
Nanka.
it's
called Nanka.
It's Nanka.
Literally
Okay.
Nanka. Yeah. So let's go, guys. Like which
What about the local
Yeah,
flavors?
all this.
So the other category is the third category is actually the one that we all definitely know already. It's called the gluten, the wheat gluten or Seitan, right? Seitan or Seitan. I don't know, depending on British or American.
Sietan.
Yeah, Seitan. So these are the one that you find in vegetarian restaurants, especially Chinese restaurants. I think you can even make this at home, and the way to make it is very interesting. Also, I see like they knead the dough. So you need a wheat dough. After that, once you form the gluten, you actually wash off all the starch, so you only get the gluten part. So that's the part where it's...
Yeah, actually you can find this out on YouTube. I've seen the videos of it before.
Yeah. And I would say, right, I know, let's try it first.
Okay. So are we going to do burgers first or are we going to do the local dishes first?
I think we can do burger first.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
You cut it up and I'll bring some, plates for us.
Okay, right, let's go.
Can. Wait, so this is the impossible, is it?
No. This is the
Harvest Gourmet.
Ah.
So
it
we
has
wanted
the
to
pink. Yeah,
Yeah, we wanted to
It's
make
a
sure
spiral,
that
yeah.
we wanted to make sure that it is as plain as possible, so we can taste the patty. So it's just ketchup, mustard, and pickles.
Yeah.
And then of course, the patties are all grilled with a little bit of oil, salt, no pepper.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pretend I'm a professional food reviewer. First, the look. How does it look to you?
Looks like meat.
It looks very good. It looks like
A
meat.
bit of pink. How does it smell?
I don't really smell much.
It
Don't
smells
really
like
I smell more
like
like the
soy.
mustard and.
Okay, I'm going in.
Okay.
Okay. Texture-wise, I get meatiness. And since it's just pickles, ketchup, mustard, if you don't tell me, I can't tell this is not meat.
Yao Mo.
I can't.
Maybe I'm a professional.
My first bite, hey, who sells burgers? No, but on my first bite, that's what I'm getting, and I haven't eaten anything in the morning. We're shooting this in the morning.
Okay, I wouldn't think this is
meat.
a vegan patty.
Oh, you actually?
I would just think this is a very
Yao
like
Mo.
plain.
great-
Yo, sure.
Yeah,
not.
so it's not okay. So texture-wise, right? It's like it's quite grainy.
Yeah.
It's more grainy.
That's
than
the only
like
thing
meat
that gave
texture.
it away for me.
Yeah,
lah,
yeah. But if I like close my eyes and you don't tell me before, I'll just be like, oh, I don't like this burger.
Actually, you know what it tastes
Yeah.
like? For me, it tastes like the canned ham. The canned ham, the
Like spam.
like spam. It tastes like spam.
A bit, yes. It actually tastes
yeah.
like, but spam is meat. See?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But is that? I think it's the grainy texture that gave it away for
Yes.
me.
I
So
think. Yeah.
again, I think we can all agree that it can be a burger. I'm not talking about a great burger, but
Yes.
you will go like, hey, look,
It can maybe pass over.
I don't know that this is not meat.
True.
Just to let you know, I cook all of this on a non-stick pan. Harvest Gourmet stuck to the pan. A lot of the char, a lot of the Maya reaction was still stuck on the pan. However, the rest of them actually lift up pretty easily.
Okay.
So I'm not too sure what ingredient was different that made it stuck, but we lost out on a bit of flavor.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, you want to make meat tasty, you want that sear to be on the meat, not on the pan. Alright, shall we go for the
let's
second one?
Yeah, let's go.
So this one is the Beyond Meat, right? But I didn't get the beef patty. This one is like a sausage breakfast patty. Yeah. So I hope it tastes like the McDonald's sausage one. There you go, bro.
Thank you.
So this one is the Beyond Sausage breakfast patty. Yeah. So I'm gonna. It
You
looks.
can smell like a lot of spices.
Yeah, a lot of herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, herbs and spices.
The only surprising thing is that it's so dry. Given the reputation of Beyond Meat,
Oh, does it have a reputation for being
well,
juicy?
I mean, it's the next best thing after.
Actually, I think it's
Impossible.
my fault because I bought the sausage patty, which is different from their meat ground.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
It's got a nice herby flavor,
Yeah.
but the texture and the dryness, I think, is a fail for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the herbs is trying to like mask that it doesn't taste of meat.
So I read, right, for Beyond, right, they are also the company, right, because I think Impossible and Harvest, they do say their proteins are from soy, but Beyond took it Beyond is more diversified. They also do pea protein, so it's like protein from what they call legumes. How do you say it?
Legumes, yeah.
Like beans and peas and all that. So actually, I thought it wouldn't make much of a difference, but I can tell this is from peas. Yeah, I can actually
Really?
taste the. You can even actually see the color is a bit greenish.
Yeah, it's a bit, I think it's a bit of like, maybe like mung bean.
Mung bean, yeah.
I've never had mung
exactly.
beans.
Got taste,
No.
yeah.
But all I know is this is not something that I would come back and buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not.
True.
Okay, next.
Next one, actually, it's getting fun.
Okay, I think this.
Oh,
Why don't we save
Hey.
impossible for last? Because that's the benchmark,
But I
right?
want it to bleed though. Will it still bleed?
It's too long.
Yeah.
Too long out already. If it still bleeds, it's a
Go buy
miracle.
beetroot juice.
Okay, so you guys have actually tasted the Impossible Burger before, right?
I have.
Renyi has.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never tasted it, so I'm very excited for that one. But before
Oh
we
wait,
get
it's
to
not.
that, so
It's
this
not
one.
impossible.
Okay, this one is not soy. This one is the Nanka
Nanka.
one.
Oh,
Interesting.
okay.
I never had this before, so this is my first time. This is a wild card lah. Last minute yesterday, I'm
Thank
like,
you.
whoa, there's a company that does this. So I'm like, let's go.
All right, let's pop this
Let's
in.
pop this, man.
Very tender.
Winway!
It tastes like chicken. A chicken burger.
Winway!
It's
I don't know,
not bad,
man. Yeah.
I just want to taste the patty. Wait, this is all our first time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Hey,
this is pretty good.
wait. Sorry. I forgot to mention something. It does contain a little bit of chicken.
What? It's not vegan anymore.
No. I think
What?
I think I just realized. I was reading it just now. They mix chicken and Nanka.
Okay.
So how much percentage? So you can get the packaging. Sorry.
Right.
The
So
yellow one.
it's
Yeah.
not quite vegan.
Yeah.
It's not vegan.
Okay, it's mixed chicken and plant burger.
But how many percent?
Yeah,
How
but
many
how much
percent?
chicken?
Bodoh
It's quite a
lah.
lot of chicken. It
Sorry,
it
bro.
legit tastes like chicken. I was like, wow, jackfruit can
So the
taste
question
that.
is how many percent?
It doesn't say. It doesn't say.
You know that
Okay.
in
Yeah.
our industry, right? A lot of people, let's say for example, they sell Wagyu patty, right? But they put like 10% Wagyu in there, but they pass it off as Wagyu. So I don't know if this is gonna be in that scenario where they just put 10% Nanka and pass it off as plant-based. But here's a tricky part that I noticed about their marketing. Jun, can you hold it up the front? Just the front, hold it up. Alright, it says meat substitute, meat jackfruit. Now, meat substitute can mean two things. One is the whole 100% you substitute meat. The
I
other,
knew it's too good to be true. God
the
damn.
other part,
They don't
is
say.
I substitute part of the meat with jackfruit. Now here's the thing, jackfruit obviously has a very meaty texture, but this is a little bit of a stretch, I would say, when it comes to comparing with the rest of the plant-based.
I feel like I got scammed.
We got scammed by Hong. Don't blame the
Don't blame the brand.
don't blame the brand. We got scammed by Hong.
I was so excited.
He himself got scammed as well.
Yeah, I was like, I eat it. I was like, oh, this
Even
is
though I
really
just
good.
read the label, I forgot about it. Then
Okay, so how many percent meat
It doesn't
and how many
say. It
percent?
doesn't say.
Doesn't
Yeah,
say.
but
I mean, they have to review, right?
Yeah, so they give you like the nutrition breakdown, right? So it has like 6% fat, 9% protein. So from that, like if you look at a typical like chicken patty, you can probably make it out. But they don't give you the exact percentage of like chicken in there.
yeah, that's a bit.
Cheeky, very
So
cheeky.
maybe they could have swapped out just like a quarter or like 20%
Yeah.
of the chicken for
Yeah.
Or
jackfruit,
worse,
right?
5% and call it that. But this is very dangerous because
Yeah.
if people don't read it entirely, like,
Yeah.
I mean, it does say here, to be fair, mixed chicken and plant burger patty.
Quite disqualified.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, it tastes good. It tastes good though.
No, if you think about it, right, if jackfruit, sorry, why am I standing? If jackfruit per kg costs less than chicken, and if I put it in my patty,
Okay.
20%, 30%, if it drives the cost down for a restaurant,
Yeah,
I think it's a
actually,
good thing.
it's-
And it's not, what do you call it? How to say, human-made like substances. that you have.
Exactly.
Right. It's not
Yeah.
like the processed food.
Yeah,
or
it's
like
not processed.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
natural.
It's a
product.
natural ingredient, so I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
Actually, I would say it's a good tool for chef. I mean, I'm actually quite happy that I found this technique. It's just that I don't know young jackfruit whether it's cheap or not.
But here's the thing, you were excited because it tastes like chicken. But is it the best chicken patty out there? The answer is no.
Yeah, it's not.
I would say it's better than some of the chicken patties I've had out there, like dry and like paper.
Fair
This
enough,
one is
fair
more
enough.
like,
Yeah, this one is like quite moist.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the addition of the jackfruit, right, serves as more of like a filler.
Yeah.
Rather than it's
got a nice fiberish,
yeah.
Texture to it.
All right, let's go for the big
Okay.
daddy. Let's go for the big daddy.
Okay, I'm very excited for this one. I've heard a lot about impossible meats and impossible burger. Like they are
I hope I didn't
known,
overcook it.
they're known to be like the
I
top,
overcooked
right?
it a little
Overcook it a
bit.
bit. How? Cool, another one.
No need ah.
Hashtag
But
fail.
Impossible Burger, the tagline is, it can bleed, or it bleeds, right?
Okay.
So if you cook it properly, because it was sitting out for a while,
Sorry, guys.
Can it bleed? Squeeze it a bit.
it's pink. It's pink in the middle. It can't be
Actually, you
pink.
can see the juice come out. You can see
Because
the
we're
juice
eating this in
come
the
out.
aircon room, it's been sitting out for almost like 20-30 minutes. It's gonna be cold.
Okay.
Let's try the flavor.
my first time.
All right,
Oh. Wow, texture-wise, it's so like meat.
exactly.
Wow. Oh wow. Well, I'm really impressed with this. It's my first time tasting it. The texture is really, really impressive. Like the taste wise, again, like maybe like the Harvest Gourmet, but even more so than the Harvest Gourmet. It's like if you didn't tell me it's vegan, I'll just be like, oh, this is regular
to me,
patty.
I've tasted a lot of plant-based patty. This is definitely right on top. In terms of replacement.
Yeah.
The only problem is the cost is insane. It's 3 times the cost of beef. Yeah. I mean, the beef that I use don't compare to Wagyu, right?
Last I heard, right, one Impossible Burger in Singapore is $50. Yeah, so no joke. This
Wait,
thing.
50 Sing dollar or 50 ringgit?
50 Sing dollar.
Damn.
50 Sing dollar for one Impossible burger.
Look at it, like caramelized.
The sear is damn
Well,
amazing.
it's really small.
Look at the
It's a really
sear.
small piece. Yeah.
So I think the technology behind this is they identified the protein in meat that actually gives you that meat taste, a specific strain of protein. So they extract that from soy as well. That's first thing. Second thing is they use starches, potato starches, to make it brown like meat. So that's the searing that you see. Third, they use flecks of coconut oil. So flecks of coconut oil to give the patty the fat, so it behaves like marbling. And then I think all the technical terms, like all the binders, I don't even want to go into it because it's a long list of
It's got the longest list of ingredients,
scientific
right?
name. I don't know. I can scroll down and give you some. Right? Okay, I try to pronounce this. Pyridoxine hydrochloride. Okay.
I don't feel like eating anymore.
Riboflavin. Okay. Thiame hydrochloride. Okay. And then mixed tocopherols.
So this brings to a very interesting discussion whereby there are a lot of people say, hey, look, plant-based sounds good, but is it actually good for you? Because there's so many things that go into it, so many chemicals that goes into it. So there is that question that people are asking, is it natural? Because the way the marketing sells it is as if it's natural.
Yeah.
Before we go in that deep, let's do the last two.
All right.
Okay. Before we go in that
Okay,
deep,
we're going
you guys
for
go ahead.
the
This
Seitan.
one is the Nangka Rendang. Okay.
By the same company as well.
By the same company
Okay,
also,
okay.
yeah.
Wait, is this chicken also then?
This one, sorry guys, this one don't have packaging. It just,
I
it just
see.
comes in a vacuum pack. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead guys, go ahead.
Which one should we start with first?
Oh, you're not even using a plate.
I'll start the char siu lah because it's
Okay, so this is
on the
the-
sweet side.
So this one
you?
is...
Just take
this,
for yourself and then
yeah.
pass it over.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So this one is the Seitan char siu, the wheat gluten char siu. And this one from the Chinese restaurant underneath my condo. I just walked down and bought this, yeah.
It's actually really tasty.
I mean, char siu flavor is not difficult. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you slap it on chicken, you slap it on beef. The smell is similar. Can this pass as a bad char siu? The answer is yes. But
Okay.
it's not something that I will go back for if I'm looking for good char siu,
Okay.
Yes, sure.
right? But if I'm looking for replacement and say, hey, look, I'm gonna go meatless today for whatever reason, I'll eat that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll eat that.
Okay, there's a pai kuat.
Okay, bye.
I got pai kuat some more.
Yeah, but
and
the
they
flavor
use
is
the
really good.
lemongrass as the.
For presentation some
Okay, I'm
more.
gonna use
okay?
my hands.
Yeah.
Wait, so does it mean that the bone can be eaten?
I don't know.
No,
Okay, I'm
lemongrass
gonna
is
hold
very
this
hard.
up.
Yeah, it's got like a
Little bone. thingy.
lemongrass bone.
Yeah.
This is also
Seitan.
Seitan, is it?
Okay, the bone not edible, FYI.
Yeah. This one straight up like eating bread dough, right?
Yeah, mush. It's very mushy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that typical like the Chinese fake meat, right?
Yeah. But I like the effort they put in to even make it look like pai kuat because
Yeah,
they
that's
have
the
bone.
thing about the a lot of bodies like Chinese fake meat. The aesthetics, right, is very on point. Like they can make things look like duck, look like fish.
Yeah.
Like even for the duck, right, you can see that there's a skin
Yeah.
and then there's a meat underneath.
Yeah, it's a-
But when you
They spend a lot
bite
of
into
effort
it,
making
it's one texture.
Yeah,
one
yeah,
texture.
when you bite into it, then you immediately know. But
Yeah.
if you just see it on the plate, right, some of them can really pass off as like
Yeah.
real meat.
True that.
Okay, last one, rendang.
Okay, rendang. Let's go, guys.
So this is
Nanka.
Nanka.
But I don't know whether got
Maybe got chicken.
Nanka with maybe got beef.
God damn it!
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, it smells good though. It smells legit rendang.
Oh, the texture. But wow,
No, cannot.
yeah. You know in Nanka lah, but I would say I'll be happy to substitute this meat with this because most of the rendang beef I had is like no good at all.
No, because this is like
Okay, guys,
it's like
sorry.
mince. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go salah. Tak salah punya.
tak salah punya.
SALA. Salahs, they have a rendang dish that is on a nasi lemak.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
not using all this nonsense
Okay.
It's just using mushroom. But they use a very specific mushroom, lion's mane
mushroom, right? Yeah.
So good. Tastes like meat, tastes like really tender. But of course, as you eat it, you start questioning whether it's meat or not.
Yeah.
But first few bites, absolutely impressed.
Oh, but lion's mane is so good though. So I made like lion's mane, like just cut it into small pieces and then do them like a nugget.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Really,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's keep it within the parameters of the taste, the how near it is to meat, and do you think? Okay, let's look at the potential of it. Do you think these products can be the future?
No, I think if you're talking about like the future, there's definitely like the future tastes pretty bright. Because like when you have especially the Impossible Burger, it's like my first time having it, right? It's like, oh, I cannot make out that it's like not meat if you don't tell me, right? And they even have like the bits of like fat in there, the bits of like gristle on the meat, like, oh, it's really impressive. So in terms of like flavor wise, right, and texture, the Impossible Burger has it like down pat.
Yeah.
And in terms of like the Chinese or like the local one, I really like the char siu. Like it's like the taste of the char siu can just mask everything.
Yeah.
And I would order this now.
Yeah.
Not as a char siu replacement.
Yeah.
But like as a dish on its own. Yeah.
That is a good point. Renyi, what do you think?
I think the future has to be this. It's just currently, who wants to go through the pain of getting there? Because it's a lot of marketing, it's a lot of education, it's a lot of getting bad feedbacks. In fact, we serve Harvest Gourmet, we serve mushroom burgers, we serve tofu patties. People are actually leaning more towards the tofu and the mushroom because it's more natural.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Right.
Because I am a big fan of his tofu burger rather than the natural harvest. Because I feel like the I don't know, it's like the it's a different category, to be honest. Yeah.
I think to each his own, and that it's going to be a journey as everyone finds out what the market wants, what the market responds to, and then you will find a cohesiveness that, hey, look, this is the product to go for. I think Nanka has huge potential. It's just where is it suited and the technique behind making it viable. I don't know. I've seen this on BuzzFeed actually. They have talked about making barbecue shredded Nanka that tastes like pulled pork.
And watermelon as well.
Oh yeah, they have the watermelon
smoked
steak.
watermelon.
Yeah, they taste like salmon, right? Or tuna or something along that
We
line.
had it, bro.
Yeah.
Dehydrated watermelon at Stoke on his birthday
I
a few
see.
years ago. Yeah. It's kind of weird, lah. I mean, I wouldn't say it's bacon. I wouldn't say it's charcuterie.
It's okay. Impossible though is still pretty impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing that we'll probably maybe also get to later is like the cost, right? In the future, it will need to come down to be able to compete with like meat, like real meat.
Yeah, and it's the economics of scale.
Actually, that's a good point. It's actually because I feel all the discussion about vegetable. Sorry, how do you say it again? Plant. All the discussion about plant-based protein is actually very confusing and emotional, right? It's always about how you frame this product, right? So if you ask me, because me and Renyi, right, I think me and Renyi, we fluctuate between luxury good and also everyday goods, right? So there are burgers that he make, which is like $50, like special, right? The damn big, and you enjoy and you think like, oh, this is like I eat this to celebrate something because I want to please, I want pleasure out of it. And he also does burgers like $15, which, when I'm hungry, hey, lunch, let's just grab and go. And so do I. I fluctuate in these two worlds. And I often find, why do people compare these products? Like I want this to be good. Like it has to be that kind of orgasmic experience. For me, it's not. For me, these are like more like everyday function product. If you frame your view in that sense, I would say this is the future.
But why do you want to eat this in replacement of meat? Why? I think that's the question.
That's where this discussion gets heavy. I think there's two main argument for it. I think Jun will cover the health side of it, and I will try and lead the discussion tackling the environmental issues behind this. Yeah.
And I'll just listen.
Okay, shall we clean up first then?
Yeah, shall we clean up first? Yeah, let's go.
But yeah, so I mean, we've tasted it, we've talked about like the flavor, but as you said at the end just now, there are two big things when it comes to all these plant-based proteins that people often bring up as the benefits, if you will. They will talk about like the environmental side of it, but also the health side of it.
Yeah.
So I will start off with like talking about the health benefits or health issues that plant-based protein will tackle. And so when I think of plant-based protein or like vegan, right? I'm not sure if you guys think the same way, right? But when I see any like vegan thing, immediately I have the thought in my head like, oh, it must be healthier. Do you feel that way as well?
Exactly. That's how I feel.
Because it's marketed by the vegans to be a healthier lifestyle. And when companies come into that picture and they say, hey, look, I'm going to give you stuff that is vegan, it doesn't always come on the same wavelength, meaning that a true vegan will say, hey, look, I don't eat these things, I want to eat natural. But companies will produce things that fall into that category, but could be processed, but still can be classified as vegan. I think that's where it becomes blurred.
I think to put into a very simple analogy, right? Broccoli is vegan, Kit Kat also vegan.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I love that.
Yeah, so there are actually so many like different
Are you
snacks.
sure Kit Kat is vegan? Just in case.
I'm not sure. No, Kit Kat got milk lah.
Got milk Okay, like, what's the
Oreos? So Oreos are vegan.
French fries also vegan. Correct or not? So is it healthy?
Depends on what oil.
Yeah, sure.
French fry also vegan.
But you can have
broccoli
healthy
also
French
vegan.
No, but all those like candies, you know, like gummy worms or just like any like subu sweets.
Yeah.
Most of them are vegan. Right?
Just because they don't contain animal products, right?
But I think June's point is we often associate vegan with healthy. So is it true?
Yeah,
What
so
do you
maybe
think?
that's like as you said, it's like a good marketing plan for them. So like
Actually,
to
that's
associate
true. That's so
veganism
true.
with like health. But in terms of like the health aspects, right? Like we've tasted all these burgers, and if you actually look at what goes into these burgers, right? Like what Hong was like listing out just now, the Impossible Burger, all the chemicals that they use, it doesn't sound very healthy. And the addition of all these extra chemicals, right, gives it, it will fall under the category of processed meats, right? And oftentimes like processed meats are often not as good as like whole
Natural,
foods.
Okay, so this comes into my territory. People say hamburgers or cheeseburgers are processed food. Okay, so if you just have a normal beef burger, the bun, I know what goes into the bun.
Yes.
Flour, water, egg, yeast. What else? That's basically it, right? I know what goes into my patty. Beef. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? But that association with maybe mass market brands, which has to have processed ingredients due to the fact that they need it to be longer shelf life, lasting and whatnot. But that association is there. But it's not always about that category of food. And I think that's where the distinction comes in.
But to me, it's like your burgers, I wouldn't consider them processed though.
But it's categorized, it's burgers. You get what I mean?
So I don't know whether this question is too personal, but do Burger Lab actually push the health angle on your burgers? Do you actually go and say our burgers are healthier because we make everything from scratch? That was the case when you started. Yeah.
Actually, we never pushed the health
but you never
aspect.
pushed it,
we pushed the hey look, it's natural and you know no fillers and whatnot.
You don't claim to be healthier because if I eat 10, you know.
Well, everything in moderation, right? I mean, have you seen that diagram where they say there's a hamburger, unhealthy, and then there is buns, cheese, patty, lettuce, tomato, all separated on a dish. Healthy.
That's good.
Like, what?
Yeah, so it's oftentimes it's like our own perception of it, right? And the whole
that is shaped a lot by marketing.
Yes. Like the whole like narrative behind it. But I think like when I think of like processed food, right? It's often like the more commercial kind where they have to put a lot of like preservatives into it to make sure it lasts longer, has a longer shelf life, is more stable. And yeah, I guess like all these plant-based proteins like Beyond Meat, Impossible Meat as well, they do fall under processed food. Well, for at least for me. And when I did my research, so
You like the Impossible patty you had just now, right?
Yes, I do like it. Like,
It's 3 years old, yeah. I have it frozen for 3 years, so I had it 3 years ago.
Yeah, so that one that we had was 3 years ago, and it tasted like I would say it tasted good. Yeah, it's fresh. But if we look at, I guess like when people say like, oh, whether things are healthy, you have to look at like the breakdown of let's say like the protein or carbs or fat or what's in it, right? So I got the data for like Beyond Burgers versus like a typical like beef patty, like 80% lean meat patty, 20% fat. And in terms of like calories, it's pretty much the same, like 270 for the Beyond and 287 for like the actual meat patty. And the fat is about the same as well. And the kind of like sugars and proteins are about the same. The only thing that they differ in is the carbohydrates So I guess with your typical like protein, real protein, right? There's not much carbs in there. So the Beyond Burger, because they use all these like plant protein, which introduces a bit more like carbs and a bit more like fiber or so. So this is something that a lot of people like to say, oh, it has more fiber, so it's like healthier for you. But the fiber is like, it's like
very small.
3 grams in like a 300 gram patty.
So it's not actually
so it's like 1%. So it's like
vegetable.
It's very like negligible. Yeah.
I like to think I eat the impossible patty is like me eating a broccoli.
Yeah, that's why there's all these like health connotations, but it's not always true. You see,
not always true.
And yeah, so when you compare it to like a real like beef patty, right? It's about the same. I wouldn't say like one is healthier than the other, but I think the big issue is, and it also will touch on like a bit of the environmental factor as well, which we can go into later, is that most of the meats, right, that you find in like the freezer section of like the supermarkets or all those like very like factory farm meats or burgers or mince, right? They often have other chemicals added in already. So to make them last longer, especially like things like minced meat, spam, sausages, they all have unhealthy things in there that.
But how do you define unhealthy? So the way I see it is, as we progress as a civilization, right, over the last 100 years, you find new ingredients and you go like, hey, look, let's put this in.
Yeah.
So I'm sure at one point, whoever that said, hey, let's dehydrate seawater, you get this really, crystallized thing, and you're gonna put it in food. Right? Is that healthy? Is unhealthy?
That's also an additive.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe I shouldn't have said like unhealthy, but maybe like not
but
as natural.
what I'm trying to say, who defines it, right? Now there are government organizations that would say, hey, look, you can put X percentage of this, you can put X percentage of that, and there are regulations. Of course, there are companies that have been caught flouting these percentages or rebranding it or remarketing it as something else, right? But at the end of the day, I want to trust the science. I want to trust the people in power to say, hey, look, we've done the research. We know more than X percentage of this ingredient is going to kill you, but less than that is okay and it keeps food for longer.
Yep.
But I think there is a distrust to companies because we've caught so many companies over the years, not just in Malaysia, but overseas as well. For profitability, they add a lot of what is deemed to be
like chemicals.
I mean, the chemicals has to be there.
And exactly.
It's like a certain percentage is acceptable.
Yes.
But you put that little bit more percentage, you can last longer or you can taste better.
But right? you have to be careful because technically speaking, I think it is proven that processed meat in long term, in places where people consume a lot of processed meat, I'm talking about things like sausages, hams, and all these turkey slices and all this, right? Sandwich slices and all that. It is true that processed meat causes cancer. So it's
because
all
the product
nitrates and all. It's because of the additives they put in.
It is carcinogenic.
Is it carcinogenic?
Yeah.
So that one is true.
Yeah. So I guess I guess what we're trying to say is like, so the problem isn't so much that meat itself is bad or unhealthy for you. It's like all these additional things that people add to meat, maybe in like illegal amounts or whatnot.
And I think in small amounts, it's not a problem. But when it becomes a daily meal,
right?
If you consume a lot,
and these are products that they make it very accessible to people. And when it becomes accessible, you eat it every other day, and over time it builds up, and you get sick, right? But that is what exactly consumerism or capitalist society is about, right? Exactly. You want to make as much money as possible. You want to make things that you can mass produce and sell to everyone and make sure they eat every other day. So what if the train of thought is not, hey, let's have bacon every day, let's have sausage every day, but let's have veggies like, every few days, and then you have your bacon and sausage once a week. That becomes a healthier way to consume. But we seem to want to go to the narrative of, no, you must lead this life or else, it's not good. You must be all vegan or you must be all keto.
Yeah,
what if there is, that's why so a lot of people say that the food chain, the food pyramid is wrong. That it's actually upside down. Have you heard of that claim?
Exactly.
Right. I don't know how to feel about it, but at the end of the day, from what I understood, the food triangle, what do you call it? Is it food triangle or food chain?
The
pyramid. The food pyramid, right? Was actually a marketing by one of the food companies.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, but it's again, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of what we are told is our information that is created by the food people in the industry. And you take it as a norm after a long period of time of being brainwashed. Even currently, right, every trend is driven by someone that is selling their product.
Yes, exactly. In fact, I mean, even if you look at the history of it, the food pyramid itself is just a government's way of telling its people, maybe after the war or maybe during a change of economic climate, right? So let's say at that time we're producing a lot of carbohydrates. So that's why they put carbohydrates as one of the biggest food groups in the pyramid, because we have it and we can feed people with it.
And they want people to eat more like potatoes.
Yeah, they want to eat rice and all that because it feeds the population. So I mean, it is all. There is always intention behind it, lah. I mean, whether or not you should just whether or not your diet should be more protein or should be more carbs or should be more fruits or whatever, or should be low sugar or whatever. I think there's always an idea behind it. Yeah.
I do believe that particular topic is how to say is to each individual.
Yeah.
I think all of our bodies are different. We all react differently as well. Some people react much more worse to others when it comes to carbs, some when it comes to fat. So I think you need to go see a doctor or see a nutritionist and see what suits you.
Okay. We are not nutritionists.
Bottom line, Jun and Renyi, what do you think? Is eating plant-based protein healthier than eating meat?
Actually, the question, sorry, I'm going to spin this around a bit.
Okay,
is it healthier than eating a mushroom patty? A lion's mane mushroom, for example, or portobello? Because I find that struggle.
So I feel like, for me, right, I've always gone by like, I can eat anything, but everything in moderation, right? And if you were to compare like mushroom patty and this, right, and like a plant-based patty, it's very hard to compare. Like, what do you mean by healthy, right? If you eat it like all your life, if that's the only thing you eat, right, you can say that the plant-based protein has more like additional nutrients that you need. So in that sense, it might be healthier if that's the only thing you ever eat, right? And just eating mushrooms every day. But like if you compare like which one's more natural, which is something I always go for as well. Like a mushroom patty is definitely more natural than like a plant-based protein where they add stuff to it.
But I think that what I'm trying to get to is that the plant-based patty is always benchmarked against meat.
Yeah.
Why is it not benchmarked against its plant equivalent?
Well, actually, I can tell you how do you compare that plant-based patty to a mushroom patty. Is actually technically they took the mushroom patty, right, which is a plant-based protein, inject fat into it, put binder into it so that the texture is nice. So they basically took the mushroom patty, modify it to the point where it's very, very near
to the meat. So I think
it's like,
what we are seeing is that companies are saying, hey, look, we want to change the world, we want to save the world. I know you don't like your tofu, I know you don't like your mushroom patties, but I'm going to give you something that's close to it so that it's one step forward.
Yes, I think so.
Right, we're saving the world that way.
Yeah, we're saving the world that way.
It's like, since you like your meat so much, right, we'll give you the meat, but it's not actually.
But Jun, can I be clear so that our audience have the benefit of this fact, right? Can I be clear? Technically speaking, based on facts like the calories and the nutrients, is not much different from eating red meat. Correct or not?
Yes. Yeah. So I would say that.
As per our educated,
I'm not a nutritionist.
Everything based on Wikipedia.
Not a licensed nutritionist.
Yeah, but that's my understanding. I mean, I look at it and I look at the stats and I look at the ingredients. It's actually almost similar to eating a meat. I mean, the fact that it's highly processed, whether that's dangerous or not, I'm not clear.
Yes, more research needs to be done, especially because it's such a new industry as well.
When they say highly processed, but does highly processed mean dangerous? I don't know.
It doesn't necessarily mean bad as well. Just like vegan does not necessarily mean healthy.
Sorry, I'm going to throw something into the
I feel like this is a deep rabbit hole.
Back in the days, a long time ago, right? I don't know if you guys remember or not, there was a bit of a hoo-ha when there was lab-grown vegetable.
What's lab-grown vegetable? I've never heard of that. Wait.
So vegetable is grown on what? Usually
soil.
So when hydroponic was a thing,
yes,
right? The nutrients were not things that you find. It's liquid chemicals,
chemicals that they inject
that you put into the water, right? And there were people who were like really against it and saying that, hey, this is not natural, this and that, right? And I think we've come to accept that, hey, look, that is acceptable. In fact, it's a very efficient way of growing.
Yeah. It's the same like if you put fertilizer in the soil, that's not natural soil.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
But it's when you take it out of the original context, like far enough that people go like, hey, that's not how I recognize it to be.
It's almost like too sterile.
Yeah, but it's a norm now. We have friends like John from Cultivate, right? That does entirely that.
Yeah.
And
It's
his
crazy.
products is controlled, is good, is consistent, right? And it has shown that that is the future.
It's
So what I'm
crazy.
trying to make comparison to is, what we are seeing is going to be a norm to some extent. Will it be this norm, what we're seeing right now, or will it continue to evolve? We shall see.
Yeah.
Right? But I think I'm glad that there are people who's concerned about the environment, that's concerned about health, that's pushing this as a go-to option moving forward. The only thing is it needs to be more accessible.
Okay.
True. Yeah. So I guess for the health, I would say about the same. But the big thing about all these vegan meats, right? It's always the environmental impact, the environmental benefits of it, right?
Okay.
And that is like a bigger topic.
Okay, before I give you the facts, right, I just want to roughly gauge what do you guys know, like what have you heard, like what do you know about how this plant-based protein is saving the environment?
Cow farts.
How fast? Okay.
So a farm, a cow farm or a beef farm, right, has hundreds and thousands of cows, and cows produce methane, and methane is like the worst greenhouse gas there is.
Okay.
So it raises the temperature, the ice
Global
cap
warming.
melts,
Okay.
polar bear dies. We're all sad.
What about you, Jun? What about you, Jun? Like what have you heard about why is stopping why stopping eating red meat will save the planet? Why do you think people are
I guess like reducing our consumption of meat, right? Like meat generally takes up more space, more
Resources?
effort, more resources than planting like veggies. Right?
Okay.
So if you eat more veggies, naturally then the demand for meat will go down, and then do that like Renyi says, so it will have like less damage on the environment, less like meat, especially like factory farms or battery farms around, and that will be environmentally friendly as well.
Okay, let me take you down the rabbit hole. Okay, full disclosure, right? I sell steaks, right? And
He has a stake in sticks.
I have a steak in steaks. Wow, that's a good one. We got it on camera. Why, how? Okay. So, and I think doing a little bit of research in this is very enlightening to me. Okay, I think in general, not many people have gone down the rabbit hole. So before I even start, I'm going to cut straight to the point. The fact is, red meat, especially beef or meat in general, is just really, really heavy on the carbon emissions, right? So I'll give you the stats, right? 26% of the global carbon emission, right, comes from food production, right? So anything to do with producing food, like 26% is fixed already. So that's fixed already. Like even if we eliminate all other carbon emission, this 26 we will never eliminate because we need to eat, correct or not? Okay? And then from that 26%, right, in that 26% carbon emission, beef, right, is beef and other meats is almost exponentially higher than plants. Okay, I'll give you one example, the worst example, beef. I'm so sorry. Beef is almost, right, 150 times more carbon emission than a potato. That's how crazy it is.
Wait, are you comparing like by weight or by?
By weight, yes. 1 kilo of beef and 1 kilo of potato.
Got it.
1 kilo of beef produces 150 times more carbon emission than potato. All right, and here's the crazy thing. Here is the crazy thing. We often hear people say, okay lah, I eat grass-fed lah. Right, correct or not? Right? But the reality is, grass-fed beef produces more carbon emission because it needs more space. So you are actually cutting down forests,
Trees, yeah.
to have your beef eat on that place, right?
There's a ratio, right? 1 cow to how many acres of land to clear.
So at the end of the day, I'm sad to say, it's all about efficiency. So commercial farming where animals are kept in small spaces and grown as fat as quickly as possible. So the faster their life cycle is, the more efficient it is, the less carbon emission it is. All right. And here's the biggest kicker for me, right? I didn't realize that for me, I'm thinking like, okay, cow eat grass, right? They turn it into meat. It's good for us, right? What's the problem? So the problem is if all our cows, livestock, only eat grass and natural food, right? Like you let them run wild and eat, it's never gonna be enough, right? 70% of production will have stopped, right? So the reality is, the way we get meat is we grow more plants to feed the beef, and then we eat, right? So that growing itself is the real biggest driver of emission. The reason why beef is so carbon emission heavy is because we have to grow extra stuff, extra soy, extra everything to feed them. So for
Create
example,
extra lands to grow.
yeah. So for example, all the soy we grow, only I think 14% is consumed by human. The others is all consumed by livestock, right? That is why it is so crazy, right? So, but then again, I don't know, man. For me, even after I did all this research, right, it's very easy for us to like vilify meat, right? It's very easy to say because they have the top numbers, right? I don't know how you guys feel about it. Because they have the top numbers, people often frame it as eating meat is bad for the planet, right? But then again, all luxury goods are bad for the planet. Everything that we do is bad for the planet. I don't know how do you guys feel about this, right? 300-gram piece of steak is equivalent to you driving your car for 3 miles. So with that information, I don't know. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's worth it?
I think that we have to agree we are very wasteful creatures as human as a species. I mean, we have all done it. For example, don't even talk about driving for 3 miles. Who here goes home, sit in their car for 5-10 minutes just to unwind, and then the aircon on, right?
Yeah.
We all do it.
Yeah.
But we are all creatures of comfort. You know, we like our what we can have access to. That's why we want to try to gain more wealth. Coming back to the point is, yes, I think we all know it. Going home, switching on aircon.
Yeah.
Even you're not in the room, you turn on the aircon first, you know, just so that it's cool enough when you go in, right? We are wasteful creatures. And the other kicker is, to me lah, if I try to save the world, but the other millions of people don't, it's still doomed anyway. Might as well join the cult lah.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if no one does anything, if no one starts changing the way they
Exactly.
live, right, like we will be doomed even faster, no?
Hard to say because I also read an article, right? I think it's in Popular Science, right? They say, right, because the connection of meat to the environmental impact is an abstract idea. So basically, it's
Not proven.
It's like, it's proven.
Okay.
But it's an abstract idea. Like it's not physical. Like you're not directly connected to it. 84% of vegan don't make it in 3 months. Yeah, so people know it's environmentally friendly and good, but they turn vegan, but they don't even make it after 3 months. They go back to eating meat because it's just an idea against a grilled meat right in front of you. So it's actually failing, right? Only 2% of Americans are vegan, right? So that's in a first world country. So you see, like, even though we know the facts, is that the solution?
But the number is slowly growing, right?
Yeah.
It's like from 2%
But again, the
now.
answer
before,
is not turning fully vegan.
Yes,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
What's the word that people use? They are like partial vegan on some days.
Yeah.
I am.
That's a word for it. Anyway, they fluctuate. Right?
They fluctuate.
And I
so-
think it's, hey,
No,
if
go
I
ahead.
consume meat 1 time less per week.
Yes, yeah. That will also help, right? It's like, I think it's like we can all do with perhaps like cutting down our consumption of things
Yeah.
that are bad for the environment.
Yeah.
And so even if you do it like 1 day out of 7 days a week, right, that would matter, right? And that will also like help in a sense. And so I think for me, right, I don't think I will ever turn like vegan or go fully like plant-based. And one kind of food, one idea of food that I always strive towards, right, is very influenced by this place that I used to work in the US, like Blue Hill. So when I worked at Blue Hill, Chef Dan, who wrote this book called The Third Plate, right? So he advocates for a third plate eating. So there are like, according to him, so he puts it in like 3 plates, right? So the first plate is what we used to have, like very big portions of meat. And the veggie is like a very, very side player in our daily meals. And then we are currently more like in the second plate, or like the second wave, like you might also say, where, you know, maybe our beef is like grass-fed or like organic, and we pay more attention to like where our veggies come from, and you want it to shine a bit more. But for him, what the ideal future for him, or what he's trying to push for, is like the third plate, which is where the meat, the vegetables are the center of your meals, but the meat play a side role. So let's say instead of like having a steak with like a parsnip puree or mashed potatoes or something like that, you have kind of like a big portion of like carrots or beets or whatnot, like vegetables, but the meat is like in sauce, or like you use the meat as part of a sauce, as part of the stock to braise the carrots in or something like that, and you still have like a lot of that flavor.
So reverse the role,
yes,
right?
reverse the role, but you don't skimp on the flavor as well. Like you still have a lot of like meaty flavor, and you get that I guess like satisfaction of tasting meat, but at the same time you are also eating, I guess, a less environmentally damaging plate. Yeah.
So it is a very wholesome thought. But again, you know, how do you change the whole industry to stop doing food porn? Food porn looks good when it's bloody, it's grilled, it's juicy.
But you can food porn with potatoes.
I'm sorry, it's a different a different attraction.
If you have, you know, the mashed potato with the cheese.
Actually, I don't know. Like, I'm all for it. Actually, I mean, as a guy who sells steaks for a living, right? I'm all for it. I'm all for trying to reduce carbon emission through in our F&B business. But then again, as a cook or I mean, I always often say, right, every time someone asks me to go keto, right, okay, drop the carbs, or someone tell me drop the meat, right, it's almost like you ask a painter, right, okay, you cannot use the color yellow or blue, right, because it's rarefied, right. I mean, even in painting, there is that issue. There are certain colors.
They are more expensive
for a painter, there are certain blue that is so rare to find, so expensive, but doesn't mean you should stop using it. You should stop using it. So for me, as a cook, as a painter, I think it's very hard for me to accept that fact. I mean, whatever it is. But in my own little world, or in my own little selfish way of trying to accept what's happening, right? I think, right, what's going to happen is the society will always correct itself. So what I believe is going to happen is beef and all this meat is going to be a luxury good. So maybe
like the lobster.
10 years from now, we won't be eating beef as often or chicken as often. We'll probably have chicken once a week or maybe twice a week or something like that. I think that's how society will always correct itself. When we need to, it will happen. The change will happen. But to say this plant-based protein, is it a solution? I think it can be part of a solution.
When that happens, when the correction happens,
when
right?
the correction happens. I don't think it can be a full solution. Yeah. Because I think we often talk about environmental issues. We forget to talk about,
economic
and also how meat is actually so much of our heritage and our culture, right? I mean, whenever I talk to a vegan promoter, right, I often say, in our parents' generation, right, it's a totally different ball game. Like my dad would say, right, he only gets to eat chicken eggs on his birthday. So can you imagine my dad growing up? Chicken egg is like a once a year thingy. Yeah. So for them, you can't blame them for pushing the meat industry to the point where we can have chicken egg, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 365 days a year. For them, that is a success story. So we can't turn around and tell them like, oh, that's all like a big, that's a big, that's wasteful or whatever. But because they gave us what we didn't have. But then again, I think it's just sooner or later we're gonna have to accept it is access, right? Like now we can eat chicken egg, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 365 days. It's crazy, right?
I think it's definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
And no matter how well-meaning we are, currently talking about this, can we make a difference? Do we make a difference?
Exactly.
I don't think we do.
Me too.
That's the unfortunate bit.
What do you mean, as in?
We are too. The government. I feel that the government, the meat industry controls the narrative until they want that change. It won't happen.
Exactly.
The people are not powerful enough to flip it, because at the end of the day, you're fighting against a will of nature. Red meat tastes good, number one.
I will go against you with that though.
Okay.
Because like the whole vegan meat industry started off by the people. It's not as if like the meat people say, oh, we should all eat vegan meat, right? But it's from the people saying like, oh, we actually want healthier or more environmentally friendly meat alternatives, right? That's why they go into this like Beyond Burger, Impossible Burger, Harvest Gourmet. That's why all these brands came out, because of like our individual wants, like society's wants, rather than the big corporations trying to push it, right?
All right,
But
so there
go ahead.
is that one, and there is a lot of voice for it. That's why good brands like Impossible, that is actually, I feel they will be making waves or change. But there are also a lot of corporations that are just jumping onto the bandwagon,
Exactly.
Trying to earn money from it.
and putting out subpar product.
Yeah.
Honestly, on my level, we sell burgers, and just like he did, 15 years ago, when he was selling at Burger King at the stadium, the percentage of vegetarian product, and I'm not even talking about the plant-based one, just the tofu and the mushroom, we sell less than 2% per day. Right?
It's true.
I don't know, maybe because people think, Burger Lab is all meat lah, then they don't even step in here. Right? But we do advertise our meatless option, but we don't get that volume. We don't see that volume.
Yeah, I definitely think there's like a slow change, but I wouldn't say like, our individual desires and individual kind of like wants doesn't matter. Like you say like 2%, right? Maybe like 5 years ago it was like 1%, right? That's like, it doubled in 5 years, right? Then if it double again in the next 5 years, like in a decade, in 2 decades, it'll be like 10-20%, which is quite a significant market. Man.
I hope that happens. But like I said, just based on my personal view, there is a lot of money put behind it to fight that viewpoint.
It's a very complicated issue. It's a very complicated issue
Yeah,
from
it's a
a
very deep
personal
rabbit hole,
level to organizations level and then to government level. One of the things that the vegan advocates always talk about, right, is the connection between legality and morality. So they are saying, right, just because it's legal to kill chicken, to kill pig or cow and everything, doesn't make it moral. Like they are pointing out a little bit of human hypocrisy, right? Okay, a lot of people, right, they love their dogs, they love their cats, right? They wouldn't eat them, they wouldn't harm them. In fact, sometimes they love them more than people. Some people love their cats more than me. Okay, that's a fact, right? But then again, do they know? The char siu they eat, piglets are actually a little bit smarter than dogs. That's hard for me to swallow because I love dogs, right? So this meat issue is actually very, very complicated. It's not only economics or environment; it's also to do with the human condition, like our own.
We all know that fact that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
We choose to.
Close one eye.
Like char siu. Very, very hard lah. Yeah. Okay. Just to give everyone a more wider view of what's the current situation. Okay, I'll give you one fact before we finish up. All right. On average, per capita, according to UN statistic 2017, blah, 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 I have to mention, Malaysians consume 50 kilos of meat per person per year. All right. Compared to US, the number one champion, 120 kilo per person. So we're not doing that bad. We're not doing.
Wait, are we doing?
So we don't have to reduce.
We are half as as the US people.
Oh my god.
Alright, so we're not doing that bad. Okay. I think we should wrap up.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right? So on
This is a
that
very
note,
heavy session.
Yeah. Actually, I thought it would be a chill session. The more
There's
research I do,
there's
right,
a lot more.
whoa.
Yeah, there's a lot more different
nuts.
aspects
Yeah.
that we can go into. But yes.
Yeah. So on that note, I think for the audience, you can decide for yourself what you're gonna do with that information. Right? These are the facts. So you decide. You wanna save the planet? You wanna
mess it up even more?
Want to eat less meat or you want to eat more meat? I don't know. Talk about it. The best way you can help is actually to talk and discuss about it. Yeah. I think the more we talk,
It's a
the better
start.
it is. Yeah, it's a start. Yeah.
And
Alright.
maybe 5-10 years into the future, Hong won't be serving steaks
Yeah,
anymore. Renyi will be
Hey,
serving
we could
all
be
vegan
serving
patties.
tofu steaks, okay?
Grilled terong, something like that. Okay, guys. With that, see you on the next episode. Ciao.
Adios.